Most intriguing facts about Bruce Lee. Lee Junfan, better known as Bruce Lee, was one of the world's most celebrated martial artists and philosophers. With his artistry, poetry, and philosophy on various life issues, the Enter the Dragon star inspired millions of fans around the world. This article discusses some fascinating facts about Bruce Lee that most people were unaware of during his lifetime and even after his death. 1. He was an American from Hong Kong. This is the first in a series of facts about Bruce Lee that you probably didn't know. A Hong Kong American, also known as a Hong Kongese American, is an American who also has a permanent address in Hong Kong. They are attached to and associated with Hong Kong through their growth, culture, residence, birth, and other forms of affiliation. Bruce Lee was born in Hong Kong to Hong Kong parents, which explains why he was considered a Hong Kongese. 2. His given name was not Lee Junfan. Bruce Lee's mother is said to have been superstitious. To ward off any evil spirits that may have circled her son's life at such a young age, she named him Siphon, which means small phoenix. When he was much older, he was renamed Lee Junfan, but he was best known as Bruce Lee. 3. He had won the Cha-Cha competition. Bruce Lee was skilled not only in martial arts but also in dancing. He was named the Crown Colony Cha-Cha Dance Champion of Hong Kong in 1958. 4. A hairstylist discovered him. Bruce Lee's film career took off in 1964 when he was discovered by celebrity hairstylist J.C. Bring at the Long Beach Karate Championship. The celebrated stylist later told actor and producer William Dozier, one of his high-profile clients, about Bruce Lee. Lee was described by Sebring as a young talented martial artist with a lot of potential. Later, Dozier contacted Lee, and the rest, as they say, was history. 5. He had poor vision. Lee's facts are that, despite rarely missing a punch or kick, he had poor eyesight. His vision was so bad that he was one of the first people to try contact lenses. He was photographed several times wearing large glasses, but few people knew he had poor vision. 6. He put everything on the line for love. Despite his outward appearance as a tough guy, no-nonsense movie star, Bruce Lee had a soft heart. Bruce had a young student named Linda Emery at his martial arts school in Seattle during the summer of 1963. Lee asked Linda out on a date after one of their training sessions. She agreed, and Lee took her to Seattle's famous Space Needle. Bruce and Linda married a year later, despite the fact that interracial marriages were socially and legally frowned upon at the time. But, being a tough guy with a soft heart, Bruce put it all on the line for love. 7. He was more than just a fighter. Because of his world-famous films, most people remember Lee as a martial artist. However, the Hong Kong star was also a poet and philosopher. After completing his GED at Seattle's Edison Technical School, he went on to study philosophy at the University of Washington. 8. His father was an opera singer and actor. Bruce was born to a father who was already well known in Hong Kong. In his father's 22-year career, Hoi Chuen had nearly 70 film credits, 1939 to 1961. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco in 1940, while his parents were on an opera tour. 9. He's been a celebrity since he was a child. Bruce had appeared in at least 20 films when he was a child. This is probably one of the most fascinating Bruce Lee facts that many people are unaware of. Many people believe that his early film roles were influenced by his father's status as an established celebrity. Whatever the reason, Bruce appeared to be a gifted child from the start. 10. He was involved in Street Fighter. Bruce Lee's fighting abilities were not limited to the movies, he was a real-life street fighter. When he was a young boy, the celebrated martial artist admitted to Black Belt magazine in 1967 that he used to go out on the streets of Hong Kong looking for fights. He also admitted that the Hong Kong street fighting techniques he learned helped him become a better fighter. 11. He was a dishwasher. Lee worked as a dishwasher in Seattle during his high school years. He was employed at a restaurant owned by a family friend. Throughout high school, he lived in an apartment above the restaurant to save money on transportation. 12. He trained well-known actors. Bruce Lee taught martial arts to a number of high-profile actors in the 1970s, including Steve McQueen, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Coburn, and James Garner. Bruce was also close friends with McQueen and Coburn, who served as pallbearers at his funeral. 13. He wasn't particularly skilled at kicking until he met Chuck Norris. This is not one of those famous Chuck Norris jokes, rather, it is one of the many mind-boggling facts about Bruce Lee. Lee was good at hand movements but not so much at kicking and martial arts, specifically Kung Fu. The two became close friends after appearing in the film Way of the Dragon alongside Chuck Norris. Norris then gave Lee some valuable kicking advice. He addressed him as follows. "You should be able to have the ability to kick anywhere. If there's an opening high, then you should be able to take advantage of that." And, of course, as a dedicated fighter, Bruce Lee worked extra hard to perfect the art of kicking, which was evident in all of his martial arts films. 14. He was so fast that some of his films were shot in slow motion. His hand and foot movements were so fast that some scenes had to be shot in slow motion. Enter the Dragon, for example, had to be shot in slow motion after producers realized Lee's movements were too fast for viewers. 15. He provided the majority of the English voices in his films. In most of his films, Bruce Lee provided the voice for all of the English-speaking characters. For example, in the film Way of the Dragon, Lee provided the voice for all of the characters except Chuck Norris. If you're wondering why Norris, the answer is simple: he's Chuck Norris. 16. He had his sweat glands in his armpits removed. He had the sweat glands in his armpit surgically removed. Despite the fact that there is no specific reason for his decision, some conspiracy theories believe it contributed to his untimely death. Sweat glands, though they may appear gross, help the body cool down when exposed to high temperatures. According to some theories, Lee died from overheating after suffering a stroke in the summer while re-recording a film in a room without air conditioning. 17. Disqualified from serving in the United States Army. Lee attempted to join the United States Army in 1963 but was turned down due to an undescended testicle. This is one of the most amazing facts about Bruce Lee, given that he was so fit that he could do push-ups with his 2 fingers. 18. He was refused admission to many Hong Kong Kung Fu schools. Bruce Lee struggled to find a Kung Fu school in Hong Kong that would accept him. This was due in part to the fact that his grandfather was British, though other reports indicate that he was also German. The fact that he was British or German is secondary, the main point is that Bruce Lee was not considered a pure Chinese, making him ineligible for Kung Fu lessons in Hong Kong. 19. He shortened the name Gung Fu to Kung Fu. Bruce made friends with martial arts author James Lee while in America. Bruce changed the name of this type of martial art from Gung Fu to Kung Fu to make it easier for James to pronounce. Because it was easier to pronounce than Gung Fu, the name Kung Fu became popular in the United States, the United Kingdom, and around the world. 20. He admired Muhammad Ali. Another of Bruce Lee's many facts is a story about his admiration for Muhammad Ali. Director Robert Claus revealed in his 1987 book The Making of Enter the Dragon how Bruce believed Ali, the world heavyweight champion at the time, was strong enough to kill him. In response to the possibility of facing Ali at some point in their careers, Bruce has said, "Everyone says I should fight Ali someday. I'm watching his every move. I'm learning how he thinks and moves. Take a look at my hand," he said. "It's a tiny Chinese hand. He'd murder me." The Bruce Lee vs. Muhammad Ali fight would have been one of the greatest fights of all time if Bruce had lived long enough. 21. He died at the age of 32. On July 20, 1973, the celebrated martial artist, poet, and philosopher passed away. He was only 32 years old at the time. Although the precise cause of his death is unknown, it is believed that he died from cerebral edema, which is the abnormal accumulation of fluid in the extracellular and intracellular areas of the brain. 22. He was laid to rest in Seattle, Washington. Bruce Lee was so fond of Seattle that his family decided to bury him in the city's Lakeview Cemetery. A number of high-profile celebrities attended his funeral, including Steve McQueen, Chuck Norris, George Lazenby, and James Coburn, who served as pallbearers. The Wing Luke Museum in Seattle's International District also has a Bruce Lee exhibition. The other is located in Hong Kong. These are the world's only 2 Bruce Lee exhibits.